So I made a video yesterday, and in part of it I was talking about how people really don't think things through very much anymore. And I was just reminded of one example, and I have a feeling that 99% of the people won't think the way I do. So, um, World War II, excuse me, um, we ended up rounding up over 100,000 Japanese and putting them in a camp. Um, Now, was that very nice? No. No, not a nice experience. Um, you know, but if you actually think about it, that was the best thing that could happen to them at the time. I know. You all just lost your mind. You're screaming right now. Well, you fucking racist. No, no, no. Take a moment. Take a deep breath. Calm down. And relax. And just listen. Don't think. Just listen. Now, we were pretty racist back then as a country overall. I mean, were we not? The 30s, 40s? I mean, right? Okay. So the Japanese weren't exactly having a great time to start with. Right. Now, flash forward to 2001. We have the Twin Towers getting attacked, falling down, almost 3,000 people dead. What happened immediately after that? Muslims were getting attacked. Anybody that had any type of, you know, turban or whatever were getting attacked. Even a Sikh Indian guy, he was shot and killed because he thought he was a Muslim. Right now, 2001, less racist than the 30s and you know 40s. I'm positive of that. Maybe some of you are not, but I am. Okay, so what do you think would have happened to the Japanese if you just completely left them alone and they went on their normal lives? Their homes would have been burnt down. They would have been assaulted. Their business burnt down. At minimum, smashed the windows, beat them up. Most likely, there would have been Japanese killed. Maybe whole families slaughtered. Right? So, how many did get assaulted and killed? None. So, it was a bad experience for them. Uh, Absolutely. Um, and I know they weren't thinking about actually protecting them. I know that wasn't true. But the end result was that actually saved their lives, saved their homes, saved their, well, they ended up losing their homes, I think, anyway, unfortunately. But there would have been probably thousands of assaults and who knows how many dead. For sure. For sure. After Pearl Harbor. For sure. And business? Oh, forget that. They definitely have to close down. Nobody's going to go there except the other Japanese. So, so the end result was it was better for them to actually be in a concentration camp, be locked up. As bad as it was still better. I mean, they weren't mistreated in terms of like they weren't, you know, beaten. Nobody yelled at them, pointing guns at them. They didn't do anything like that. They weren't treated like criminals, like prisoners. But you know, it wasn't exactly a great. They couldn't leave, and you know, and the food wasn't their normal food, and you know, so it wasn't a nice experience. But they even so, it was still better off for them. So that's what I'm talking about when people don't think, because guarantee 99, probably 99.99% of the people would think this is purely bad and it was a horrible thing. They should have never done it. And it was a bad thing, but they still were right to do it because it saved many of their lives and even more hardship. So truly, I mean, again, you got to really dissect things. I mean, take a step back, get your emotions. Never act on your emotions. Never make a decision based on when you're emotional. Take a step back, calm down, relax, be chill, and then take that, whatever subject it is, take it apart bit by bit. And like peeling the layers of an onion, you know? Take off all the outside layers and then look at them. Figure it out, okay? Truly dissect it and think about it. And then you can come up with a proper decision, you know, proper solution. You know, right now with Israel, it's just nothing but pure emotions. I'm definitely not an expert when it comes to Israel and all that. And aside from the past, if you just look at the October 7th attack, you have to be on the side of Israel, 100%. I mean, they hadn't been in Gaza since 2005, for over 18 years. They hadn't been in there at all. Gaza was a completely autonomous area, autonomous zone, however you want to put it. Essentially, they were their own nation, but unofficially put down in the UN as an actual nation. And they were getting billions of dollars from all kind of people. So if they had spent most of that on their people, infrastructure and whatnot, they'd have been okay. Granted, okay, again, the situation isn't great, and land was taken, but over 18 years, not bothered with from Israel. So instead of concentrating on making a good life for everybody in Gaza, and then figuring out stuff down the road on how to try and see if you can work with the UN or something to try and gain some land back. Instead, they just fired 30,000 rockets at random, invade and kill 1,400 people, and take over 240 hostages. Some of them ended up being killed. Some of them raped. Some of them, you know. So you think what? Israel's supposed to just sit there and do nothing? Bullshit. Bullshit. Now, is what they were doing the right way to do it? I don't know. But as far as I'm concerned, whatever it needs to do to stop the threat and try and stop it for good if you can, which you can't completely stop it for good, but you can minimize it. My opinion, they should have went to the UN and said, hey, this is an act of war by an autonomous rogue nation. They may not officially be considered a nation, but they're completely on their own. We don't have any influence, any interference. So it's an autonomous rogue nation that attacked us. And we're declaring war. They declared war on us. We're declaring war back on them. So we're acting accordingly. And I think that, from a legal standpoint, internationally, might have been a better approach than calling it an act of terror. It is an act of terror, but because it was the leaders of Gaza, the elected leaders of Gaza, who did it, who planned it and executed it, um, then you can call it an act of war. Um, I don't know. Maybe it's just semantics. I don't know. Um, but that's just my opinion. So hopefully it works out okay for the rest of the hostages, and they get them back, and Israel can move forward. But it's not going to be an easy road for them. So anyway, I kind of think maybe I went a little bit off script, but again, it's just again I've always been heavy into psychology, philosophy, logic, and I think things through. Um, I have a few times in my life when it comes to work made emotional decisions, and it's never worked out. Never, because I didn't think about it. I quit this job because I don't like that my boss or this and that, and it's never really worked out right. But yeah, the best way to do it is really think about things thoroughly, no matter what it is. Marriage, for example. You see people, they're barely together a few months and they're getting married. It's like, well, what are you talking about? You barely know the person in a few months. You got to be with them 6 months to a year, then maybe move in for another year. And if there's not much in the way of bickering, you guys are getting along great, and you really feel after that time the same as you felt in the early days, okay, great. Get married and hopefully it works out. But, I hear so many people within 6 months of meeting, they're married. That's too fast. And then lo and behold, most of them end up getting divorced. Huh. Never saw that coming, Another thing is think for yourself. We have a big problem now because with the universities, because of all these youngsters, they went to school. They had no idea what they wanted to do. They really many of them didn't even want to go to school, but they were pressured by their parents, pressured by society. Oh, if you don't go to college, you're not going to do well in life, and you might end up in prison, and this and that. So they go, but they have no idea what to go to do. So they get a liberal arts degree, or a, you know, gender studies or something. What kind of work can you get with that? Nothing. So now they have $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 in debt. They can never pay because they're working as a barista at Starbucks, barely making it themselves. And it's the universities to blame. It's the parents that are to blame for pushing them. And I think politicians as well, because they also push the issue. Go to college, go to college, go to college. Well, guess what? I know well over 100. I mean, probably 120, 130, maybe possibly even a little more, people who have either no college or maybe they went for 1 or 2 years and dropped out, that are very successful. And that doesn't mean that they're necessarily a millionaire and a business person or a CEO or, whatever. But, because you can just be, I know a bunch of them, they're truck drivers making 80 grand a year. That's not successful? For somebody who barely has a high school degree, do that for 30 years and retire a millionaire? How's that not successful? It is. And I've known a bunch of them that, they put their kids through college, they got a house, they got their wife, they got, financially they're good. And that's not even being an owner or operator. You can make that kind of money driving for someone else. Owner operators now you can make double that. There was a guy who was homeless, and he went to the training. The training's free. There's a few companies that do that. They put you up in the hotel the whole time you're doing it, and the day after you graduate, he's driving a truck. You live in the truck, So here he is, just a couple of years out of that, and he's making like 80 grand a year, living out of the truck. So you save a lot of money. Well, life is great. That's success, you know. But a lot of those people that I'm talking about, they are millionaires. Um, my father, he only had eighth grade education. Eighth grade. That's in Greece. So eighth grade in Greece means fifth grade in Athens. You know what I mean? Or eighth grade in the village means fifth grade education in Athens. You know what I mean? And he came over here barely speaking English. Um, Times were different then. Obviously, he came in the late 50s and stuff. He ended up making several million, uh, you know, doing very well for himself. Um, his his two of his business partners that came later. Both of them were worth well over 100 million, multiple businesses and whatever. Um, you know, there are billionaires that have no that at least when they became a billionaire didn't have a college degree. Um, Bill Gates, he made billions before he went back and got his degree. Zuckerberg, same thing, and so many others. You know, so you don't have to go to college. Take, in my opinion, if you don't really know what you want to do, take a year, maybe 2 years, and figure it out. Travel, work, and I recommend traveling and working. Um, you can go somewhere and work for a few months, um, doing whatever, and go to another state for a few, and then another and another, or find a job that there's some jobs that you can travel and work, um, some different type of construction jobs and things. Uh, you know, or go if you can do it, go backpacking or something across the country or in Europe or whatever. Meet people, talk to people, get some culture, figure out, you know, try a lot of different things to figure out what you like when maybe you'll finally find your passion. I honestly never found my passion. Um, I guess traveling, I really love traveling, but I found that out later in life and I was already kind of, well, I wasn't great financially, and then when I started getting better financially, physically, it wasn't great, so couldn't travel too much. But um, yeah. Anyway, I got sidetracked, but just think, people. All right. Good luck.